Welcome. Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, to Darius and the organization for giving me the opportunity to present myself, what I do, my hobby. So yeah, I was very happy to get the invitation because it's confirming to me that I'm doing something nice for other people. I'm Randy. I'm 27 years old. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm still a student. I study aeronautical engineering in Delft. Currently, I am, as you can see, it's a little bit messy. I'm in a storage room of my father's company. He gave me some area over here where I could place my printers and I could do my thing. So that's why you see all these tires. They're all for my father's company and stuff like that. You see some boxes over here. I got a Etsy store where I sell the models that I make. So that's what you see all over here. I put some tables over here where I could present my stuff. So I also have a cheat sheet so I don't forget some things to say. Yeah. So I run a YouTube channel called Spaceshipmania, and I make spaceships. I model them myself using CAD software, Fusion 360, and I also have some experience with CAD software with my study because I do the aeronautical engineering and we need to design stuff. But I use Fusion 360. It's a very good program to draw. It's very easy to learn for young people, also old people, doesn't matter. It's very good, and you can also make complex models with moving parts. So that's why Fusion 360 is a very good program, very good software, and I choose to work with that. And of course, I use 3D printers. That's why I'm a little bit famous on the YouTube. Yeah, I design it myself and then I make it with my printers. Let me check. How did I get started? Well, I've always been a science fiction fan. It started when I was young. I watched Star Wars movie and I played games, Halo. I don't know if some of you are familiar with, but I know you are familiar with Star Wars because I also saw that the 501st Legion is also part of the festival, which is very exciting. So that's always something that I really liked. And currently I'm doing aeronautical engineering, but I want to do something with space when I graduate, hopefully next year. And that's why you see also a lot of rockets. So I make science fiction models, but also rockets. Science fiction, but real world, doesn't matter. Lately I've been a lot designing SpaceX models because SpaceX, everybody knows them. If you're a little bit involved in the space industry or you're watching the news, you know that SpaceX is doing some great stuff. They are reusing their rockets. They are going to open up space for common people. Of course, you will have to have a lot of money, but it's getting cheaper. And Starship, which you see over here, is of course very famous. SpaceX is currently designing this rocket, which will be revolutionary. Currently, it's still science fiction because it's only on paper, and they made some 3D models of it, and they are building it right now. So SpaceX is actually making science fiction science fact. And that's why I really love to make these models. And of course, I sell smaller models on my Etsy store, which I will put a link in the chat if I can do that, but I will do it at the end of the video. We got the Starship Lunar Lander, which is also a concept design of SpaceX. They are joining NASA to make vehicles for them to go back to the moon. So NASA selects a few companies and they come up with concept designs. NASA just says, okay, private companies, you design our stuff, our vehicles. It needs to land on the moon. It needs to take people, cargo, and then they came up with this model. So I'll also make this one. And what I also like to do with my models is make them a little bit interactable, so you can play around with it. and I put a small, so this is going to be the cargo bay, and I also put a small elevator in it, which you see if you watch SpaceX concept art, you see them with the elevator bringing the astronauts, bringing the hardware to the moon surface. So I also like to include that in my models. And of course a working door, cargo bay door. So that's what I do. Now currently I have 4 3D printers, and I started with the Creality CR10S, which is standing behind the models. After the meeting I will take off the camera and show you everything. So from now you have to do it with what I say. You probably see it a little bit over there, but if you have a little bit patience, I'm going to show you everything. And the Creality CR10S is a very big printer. It has a built surface, 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter, and it can print 40 centimeter high. So you can print almost the entire rocket in one go. That's how big it is, and that's why I chose to buy the Creality CR10 at first, because I hadn't any experience with 3D printing. Some of them were at my school. I saw people making 3D printers, of making stuff with 3D printers, I should say. And I never printed anything. I just went to YouTube, saw some videos of the 3D printer, and I was like, now I wanted to make my own models, and I want to use a 3D printer for it. Because Revell, the famous company, the model making company where you can buy battleships, tanks, they don't make SpaceX rockets, unfortunately. So I thought, then I have to make it myself. And that's why a 3D printer is very handy. You can make everything you want. And on the internet, you got multiple websites where you can download for free models. For example, Starship, Star Destroyers, Monclamar Destroyers from Star Wars, Halo, all kinds of science fiction vehicles. You can find them there for free. People just post them over there, and you can download them and print them if you have a 3D printer. So that's really what decided me to buy a 3D printer. The opportunities were limitless. So let me look for a second if I told everything. Yeah, okay. So the first thing I made with my 3D printer was this CAS assault carrier from Halo. I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet because I wanted to buy it, what I just told you. But no model maker sold these vehicles. So I decided to make it myself. I found the files on the internet, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy a 3D printer as big as possible, because bigger is better, and we'll see where it goes. And while I was printing, I was, okay, like, maybe I should film it, because I planned to make this model, which I already sold, but I made one which was almost a meter. It was very big. Yeah, bigger is better, I thought. So I recorded it and I posted it on YouTube, and that's how I really started getting into model making and making videos and posting them on the internet. And then I get comments, I get likes. People said, could you make this? Could you make that? And it really inspired me to do more and more. And yeah, it really paid off. I'm still not where I want to be with my YouTube channel. I want to be very big. Now I got 1,400 subscribers and still growing. But it's been a year now. So a year and a half since I bought my first printer and made my first model. And so I went from downloading models and printing them with my printer to making my own models and printing them and selling them. And it's really going the right way. So the model making, how it really started? It started when I bought my first printer. But when I was young, I bought one model kit from Revell, which was a big battleship, and I never finished it. It's still standing in my room at home, but I never finished it. And it's very ironic that today I'm making my own models. Well, my first model I never finished. It's quite funny. So what tools do I use? Of course, I use the software, which I already told. I use my 3D printers, and for model making, I don't consider myself, to be honest, a professional model maker, because I'm still learning every time. Of course, there's always room for improvement, but every time I make a new model, I try to improve myself, make it a little bit more difficult, make a little bit more complex model with extra moving parts, moving wings, moving doors, landing gears. So I'm not very professional, in my opinion. You got some model makers that add, for example, lights to the engine, and I'm planning to do that in the future. So I got also already some tools over here. For example, the soldering iron for connecting wires, because I'm already planning to do that in, I don't know, maybe the next model, which is laying over here. It's a Star Wars model, the CIS Lackerhulk from the Clone Wars, and I entirely designed it myself, and I made it hollow so it can fit, for example, forgot how they call these, but to transmit light. So you got these wires running throughout your entire model, and you can resemble lights, for example, or you can put lights in the engine. So I made them also hollow, and I can, if I do blue LED lights in here, I can resemble the ion engine, for example. So I'm currently working on this model, and I'm recording everything, so it will be my next video on YouTube. And what I normally used is for painting, for example, just a spray can from the local store. And this is a primer spray can, and it's very cheap. It doesn't require any skills. So that's a pro. But in the future, I'm planning to buy an airbrush. And an airbrush allows you to be more precise. For example, if I want to paint a blue line over here, normally I would use tape to cover up the areas which I don't want to be painted, and then I would just spray paint blue, for example, and then everything will be blue, because the spray can has a very wide, a very large surface area which it sprays on, which can be handy for big surfaces, but for small details it's not. So that's something I'm going to do in the future. I'm going to buy an airbrush, and you can very precisely paint lines or anything, details which you want. Normally, or currently, I'm using just pencils for small details, pencils. So I got the spray cans for the big areas. And then I would, with using Tamiya acrylic paint, I will paint details such as the windows, which you see over here, engines. It's still very handy, but it doesn't always give me the result that I want. So that's why I'm going to invest in an airbrush, and I will, for sure, the quality will improve when I do that.
I have a question, Randy. Talking about brushing and painting, I have a question from Martin. From what material do you make those models? Okay. He said that that's amazing, and he will check your channel.
Okay, great. The models are made from PLA. So for the 3D printers, you got multiple options. Of course, you got different printers, because some printers can print metal, but those are very industrial printers. I don't have them. I can print plastics, just plastics. But PLA is the most common plastic. It's very friendly to use. It doesn't require very hot melting temperature. It's easy to print with. It is not poison. It's eco-friendly somehow. So when it's printing in this room and I'm standing over here, I don't smell molten plastic. So I use PLA, and it's not very expensive. So that's what I use. The quality is decent. You could also got PAT or PATG. You got different types. Those are more stronger, but they smell like burnt plastic. It's not healthy to be around a printer that's printing with those plastics, the same plastics that the Lego blocks use. That's not the very good for your health. So I use PLA, and it's good for the models. It doesn't require, the models don't require to be under pressure, or it doesn't require the plastic to be very strong. If I drop it from the table, it won't break, so it's strong enough. So that's what I use. Back to where I was. So, of course, I use pliers, and I can use a little example. So this is my latest model, and I got two of the same parts. This is the main body of the CIS Luckeroog, and this one failed at 90%. It's something that happens when you people with 3D printers, they can relate. When the part is almost finished, something can go wrong, and you can destroy it, or the printer just does something and you need to stop the printing. So I got two of the same parts, and what you see over here, this one I cleared everything, because a printer, it cannot print in the air. It needs something to support it. So when you are going to make a roof, for example, so this is the way it orientates. It's printed on the build plate, and this is pointing up. Something needs to support the overhanging parts. So that's why it looks like this when it comes off a printer. This is specially made, but when I use a plier, I can just remove it. It's very, very easy, not always. For example, the stuff inside, it will require some force to get off, but you will be able to get it clean. So that's why also PLA, it's very very friendly, easy to work with, I should say, but it's still strong, because when I don't want to do it too hard, but I can apply some decent force to it, and it's still okay. So that's how the 3D printer works. And of course, a spoon, because the printer has a flat surface and you need to get it off. Then you sometimes need to use a spoon. I got flexible build plates with my latest Prusa printers. So today I got 4 printers. I recently bought 2 Prusa printers, which are smaller, but the quality is way better. I will show them at the end of my talk, and you will see how everything works. I also use Dremel. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. You can add different types of tools to it. So you can sand, or you can cut something off. I don't use it too much, but sometimes I do. Mostly, I think it's a little bit too overpowered for the PLA, because the PLA is not that strong, so you don't need very strong tools. But I did use it once. And of course, sanding paper, because when I spray paint something, mostly I start with the primers, and then I use the sanding paper to get rid of all the lines. Because the 3D printers, if you look very good, you can see the layers. And it looks funny, but sometimes I don't want it, so I apply some of primer layers and then sand it off just using sandpaper from the local store, the same store where I buy the spray cans. So that's also an example that you can make models without expensive tools. You don't need a lot of difficult tools which require very high skills. You can do it with everything you want. So as you see with this model, in my 3D model, I cut it in pieces so I can print it in the right way, because I have to have a flat surface, preferably. So that's why I cut it in different pieces. And when I glue it together, you always get seams. So you will always see a line where you glue the two parts together. And also from my local store is filler, which normally you would use to cover up seams in the wall, or I don't know. This is for wood, but it doesn't matter. I use it on my plastic models, and it's very easy to sand away. So I just take a little bit of this stuff, put it with my finger onto my models, onto the seams, to cover up holes, lines, a little bit, spread it with my finger, let it dry, and then use the sanding paper to get rid of it, then spray paint it sometimes more, and you don't see anything more. So that's also very handy, filler. So those are the tools that I use. Now, so the project I'm working on right now, I already told you about, is the CIS locker hall. I hope you're very familiar with the Clone Wars, so I don't have to explain too much what it is. It's a battleship, it's a cargo ship. It is used by the system of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. And you can see it in Star Wars The Phantom Menace, in the third part as well. Somewhere on the background, I guess. But in this model, for the first time, I will implement lights. So I'm going to, as I said before, I want to add blue LEDs to the engine to resemble iron engines. I will add lights, and I still forgot the name, but you got these transparent tubes. They can transmit light. So if you put it into your model, you can have lights everywhere to make the model look more interesting. It got hanger base, which I also want to light up. And because it's still this is the first time I'm going to do this, so I don't know if I made the right design choices for implementing lights and stuff like that. So as you see it right here, it might change in the future, but I'm the kind of guy, and I think that's also something that is a part of model making. You just try stuff. And the advantage of me designing my own models and having a 3D printer always ready to go is that if this part isn't good enough, I'll just change it, print it again, and I got myself a new model. That's a very big advantage of 3D printing. So I also hope to buy the airbrush and implement it on this model. I will add lights, and yeah, in that way I'm trying to improve myself, and of course the quality of my videos. It will be way more interesting to look at my videos if I do something more interesting, more complex, because what I did before was just, I started with just downloading someone else's file, someone else's model, print it, paint it, and then post it on the internet, and people were already going crazy and were very enthusiastic. But now I want to improve myself. I want to make better models, more complex, improve my own skills, of course. And so that's what you see over here. This is where I started, and you can see over here I got models with moving parts. Just everything is improving. So the CRS Luckerhawk, I hope to finish it in a few weeks. I'm very busy with school, so I'm not making a lot of progress, but it's going the right way. So that's what I'm working on right now. Something I was working in the past, and this model, this inspired me to start designing my own model, because this one I also got it from Thingiverse, and it's a UNSC Infinity from Halo. I just took the model from the internet, and it was the files were a little bit corrupted. So when I loaded it into my software to make it ready for 3D printing, it wasn't really cooperating. It was printable, but this was the first time I tried to make it hollow, so I could fit electronics in it and add lights. But yeah, you might not see it. It was a headache to make it hollow and stuff like that. And that's when I first realized that, you know, maybe I should start designing my own models, so I can make it from the ground up, from the start, as how I want it to be, and it would make it myself way more easier if I designed it to be it in the way that I want it to be. So not just take something and then try to make it something else, but just designing it like that. So this is a project. It's not finished, and I guess I won't finish it ever, because I don't really like it how it is. It's not designed by myself, and it's difficult to make it with electronics. So it's still here. I don't throw it away. I don't know why, because maybe I think I will finish it one day, but I think it will be better if I design this same vehicle myself. It will be way better. So let me take a look at my cheat sheet. Only half an hour. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is one thing I also want to do in the future is maybe add dioramas to my models. So for the people that don't know what a diorama is, it's actually creating the scene around the model. So for example, this is the Starship lunar lander, and if I make a diorama, I will try to make the moon landscape around it and really create the feeling that this vehicle is landed on the moon. And that's something I also want to take a look at. You see a lot of, for example, the train modelers, the people with the small miniature trains, they always make dioramas. They make entire landscapes, and it's quite funny to see. So I think it would really add some value to the models. So if I could present it inside a diorama with the surrounding and where it needs to fit, or it would really, would be really nice. So that's also something I'm going to look at in the future. So that was a little bit about the models, and now I'm going to take the camera, which I taped. Can I turn around? So this is my workspace, not really my workspace, but this is the area where my 3D printers are. And if people have questions, you can ask. Because I told most of my story, maybe I need to clean a little bit. Yes. So what you see over here, this is my first printer. It's the Creality CR10S. and it's very big. For size comparison, I could easily print this entire rocket using this printer. But at a moment, I stumbled upon a problem because size was not my limiting factor, it was time. It takes a lot of time to print something that big. For example, if you would use this entire volume just to make a very big square, it would take you days, maybe a week. And yeah, I don't want this machine running for that long. It's risky. And since I am, that's by the way where I put my camera. I'm at the company of my father, and he doesn't allow me to print at night, for example, because he doesn't trust these machines. And in reality, it's from China. I don't hate China, but it can indeed be risky. These are the Prusas. They are from the Czech Republic. Very famous printers. I guess the owner of the Prusa printers, he started with the printers. So he's always at the front of innovation. So these are my latest two printers, and they are smaller because I don't really use the big areas. So it's a waste. It's a waste. This area over here, the build plate, you call it the build plate, it gets hot, because when it's hot, the PLA will stick to the plastic, will stick to the surface, and it will not warp. Sometimes you got a problem when you got a part with a flat bottom, it can warp. So the edges are curling upwards, and you don't want that. You want straight. So the entire surface gets hot, and it consumes a lot of energy. And when you're only printing something the size of this boat, for example, that's a big waste. So you don't want that. What I, by the way, did, this is the console. So this is when I turn it on, you can select everything over here. I pulled off the plug, so I can't run it. I can run this one. There's also one over here, and it's hidden inside an enclosure, because what I told you guys, the surface gets hot. Of course, the PLA, the plastic, needs to melt, so it also gets hot. And you want to maintain a decent temperature around your model. So, for example, my first printer was in my room, next to my bedroom. I got a study room over there. And in the winter, that room got, I don't know, maybe 10 degrees. Very cold, at least. And that's not good for the quality. So I decided to build an enclosure, including lights, and of course a glass, so I can take a look at it. And it was making a lot of sound, so I also decided to add some isolation material to reduce the noise. And it really worked fine. I didn't hear a lot of noise, and the quality of the printing was good. It became very hot in here, so I could lower the temperature of the build plate, and it was a good choice. But today it stands in this room, and it's always a very stable temperature in here. I guess it's always around maybe 20 degrees, at least 15, probably 18. So it's a little bit over-engineered right now. So most of the time when I run this printer, I would keep a little bit of opening in my door to release the heat, because you don't want it to be too warm, because when it's too warm, it stays molten, and that's something you also don't want.
So, yeah. But I'm not using these two printers a lot lately because since I bought this one, these are smaller but more expensive, but the quality is way better, way better. So yeah, I prioritize these two, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these two. Probably I will use them when I'm going to make something big, but that hasn't occurred yet. So it's a little bit messy also. We're going to move to another building. So maybe I'll decide to sell them. Maybe I'll decide to keep them. I don't know. For now, I'm using this one. And so this is the build plate. And as you can see, the build plate, it's flexible. So when I print something, I can just, I only have one hand. But if I bend it a little bit, the model comes free of the surface. And sometimes when I use this printer, I had to use the spoon, that one. And sometimes I really, as you can see over here, there's some leftover PLA. I really had to use a lot of force and almost use violence to get it off, which you don't want that. You don't want that. And this is just a matter of bending the plates and it gets loose. And I love it. I really love it. So these two printers are my favorite right now. So got a lot of trash, spare parts. What is more interesting to show you guys? Actually, I already told most of my story. Maybe it would be fun if I just turn it on. So this is how this is the PLA. It comes in spools. This is 1 kilogram. Oh, it's upside down. It tells you, doesn't tell the temperature. Okay. So the PLA, it comes inside over here, and then it needs to be melted at 200 degrees. So I'm just going to print from SD. That's where my files are. Yeah, let's just print 2 starships. So I select that one. And now you can see over here, this is the temperature of the nozzle, which is over here. You already see it as a little bit of plastic over here. And now it's going to heat up. And this one is the build plate, which is going to be 60 degrees. This is the speed. So I can decide to, if I want to, it's not starting yet. So to make it faster, you can see how long it will take. So this print are 2 of these small starships. We are going to print them, and it takes 10 hours. So time is the limiting factor. That's a disadvantage. I can speed it up if I want, but it will the quality will suffer. And so I found the right settings in which I think it's fast enough and it's still good quality. So maybe if winter starts, and in the Netherlands, I have to be honest, winters aren't that cold. But if it gets too cold in this area, I will probably design a similar enclosure for these printers to just make sure that the heat or the difference between the temperatures, the environment and the temperature of the build plate and the nozzle is not too big. So it's still heating up. It's almost there. Always make sure to remove the dripping plastic. So what it will do, and what it will do first is it will go to its 0 point, which is in the corner over here. And as you can hear, printers can be very noisy. And these printers are way more noisy than this one. So what it's doing right now, it has a magnet, and it's making sure that everything, that the build plate is not turned, it's straight. Then it lays a little line, and then it starts printing the first layer. It will first print a small ring around it, just to make sure the flow of the plastic is okay. And now it starts with a brim. And a brim is, do I have an example? No, I don't. It will print a small layer around the model to make sure that it has enough area to remain stuck on the build plate. And I told you already about warping, so it's almost inevitable, but the plastic it will let loose at some corners sometimes, not always. For example, over here. And if you have a brim around it, so this little piece of plastic, just one layer of plastic, it will prevent your model from warping. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I don't know if I can see the chat room. Chat.
It's not a problem if you don't see the chat room. If there are any questions, I will read it to you.
Okay.
I think that your presentation was very explainable. So everything was understand and interesting at the same time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Luca, vrei să spui ceva?
Da. What is your name on YouTube?
My name is Spaceshipmania. I don't know if I am able to share my screen, because then I can go to...
You are able, because you are co-host, so you are able to share your screen.
Okay, by the way, I can see someone asking, what is the price of a Czech printer and a plastic roll? Okay, so let's first start with this one. This guy over here was around 500 euros. 500 euros for the big one. And it's a Chinese printer. It doesn't have the sensors that this one has. So if something goes wrong, it will just continue. It's just a dumb machine, a very dumb machine. If you don't pay attention, it will just continue, and if something is in the way, it will destroy it and just continue with brute force. These machines, they sense when something goes wrong. They have crash detection. The quality is way better. It's for a printer, this one is silent. Doesn't make a lot. So this one was 500, and this one was, I bought the assemble kit. So I needed to screw everything together. How much was? Don't know if I include the taxes. The tax. Around 700, maybe 900. So almost twice as much as the bigger one. But as I said before, it's a better quality. And because it's better quality, you can print faster. And since time is the limiting factor for me, at least, this was just a way better option. So that was that question. The plastic model, roll is around 20 euros for a kilogram. 20 euros for a kilogram. This rocket, it's hollow from the inside. It's hollow. So it's maybe 40 gram. Well, let's say 50 gram max. You print yourself a model like this. So if you it sounds maybe a lot, 20 euros for a roll of plastic, but you can do a lot. You can do a lot. You can make very big models using only one roll. So that's that. Share content. Is that how I share? Because I have my internet browser and I can show my YouTube channel.
Yes, you can share screen if you want.
Yeah.
You have on the bottom of the screen, you have a bar, and you have in the middle the share screen button. Or you can write.
Yes. Okay. Share screen. I don't see an option to share my internet browser. So maybe.
You can write it on the chat if it's easier.
I don't know if I press the home button, if I will remain in this video. So I got some stickers over here. So this is the name of my YouTube channel.
Okay, Spaceshipmania.
Yes. And I also got a link. I got a link for my store.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so Spaceshipmania, it's the same name is my YouTube channel. So Spaceshipmania. Yes, so if you look on YouTube, you will probably find me. So this is how a 3D printer works. It will lay layer after layer until it's 3D. And you can decide for yourself how thick you want to be the layer. So if you want very high layers, then the model will look very rough, but it will finish faster because it doesn't have to do that many layers because they're very high. But if you want quality, you want the minimum amount of size for your layer. So we want very tiny layers, but that will take very long. So that's also something you need to take into consideration. But for people that are interested in model making, I will definitely suggest to take a look at 3D printers. I would advise the Prusa, but if you're on a budget, you can go for the Creality, and they also have a similar size as this one, and that one is only 300 euros. So that's, it's a good option for people that are on a budget, because there are still good machines, but these machines are perfect, in my opinion. Okay, that was a little bit of my story. I hope everyone enjoyed. I'm going to go back. Yes.
Thank you very much, Randy. If there are any questions for Randy, if not, we are approaching the closing time.
Yes.
So you gave us your store on Etsy, yes?
Yeah, that's my Etsy store.
And it's your Etsy store.
I can try, but I'm afraid if I press the home button, will I remain in this in this Zoom meeting?
I think that you will, but if you are not, we already.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to try to take a look at my.
Okay, try it.
Oh, I'm still in. Okay. Spaceshipmania. What I will do is I will take a screenshot.
Now you closed your video.
I will be back. Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Okay. Now I'm going to share photo. Oh, website or Google Drive. No. Sorry. Never mind. Photos. Okay. Now you see it.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah. So this is my. I took a screenshot and then I shared a photo. So this is my my YouTube channel, and you can see me make physical models. I assemble them, I paint them, I make videos, recording myself, designing the models in Fusion. So if you're willing or want to look at how do I design my models using the software, I also got videos about that. And because I use a lot of 3D printers, sometimes I also post videos about me assembling a printer or making the enclosure, the big structure around my printer. And yeah, that's about it. That's everything, I guess. So I want to thank you once more for the opportunity to show around.
Martin says that it was very interesting. All the best and good luck in your future project. Subscribed. So yeah. Martin will be your fan from now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So if you want to keep up to date, watch me improve my skills, watch me make more models, or watch me make one of these models at the background, yeah, go check it out. Subscribe, like, comment. And for the people that really want to get involved, I also got a Discord channel, which you can find somewhere on my YouTube channel. And yeah, we got a lot of people over there that are also involved in 3D printing. I got also people like What About It. I don't know if you watch a lot of YouTube. What About It, Marcus House. They are big YouTubers. They are also very involved in the SpaceX news. So they are following SpaceX news, and I provide models for them on their background for their
success
show.
And a lot of subscribers.
Yeah, thank you very much. So,
says a blogger, yes, and a vlogger.
Great.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will wait you tomorrow on the Zoom 2 on TGI Film Festival. Until tomorrow, thank you, Randy, for this wonderful presentation. Success.
Thank you very much, and success with the festival. And hopefully till next year.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.